Welcome to the Innovation Squadcast. If you are looking for a podcast about instructional strategies enhanced by technology, you came to the right place. In our conversations, we will talk with tech experts, share ideas and strategies to help you build your toolbox with tools that you can use in your class immediately.
Welcome to the Innovation Squadcast. Today we are talking Tech Cohort Wrap-Up, and we are on location at Goose Creek High School talking to some of the graduates of that course. This Tech Cohort was an idea to build a community of professionals committed to designing and implementing innovative instructional practices using technology. We wanted to build leadership capacity, learning basic skills with technology, tools such as video creation, maker tools, robotics, teachers to successfully integrate tools into meaningful and engaging lessons. And today they're going to be able to talk about what they learned and how they're going to hopefully in the future provide some PD for teachers and build on what they learned. But before we get started, let's pause for this week's tech tip.
Today's tech tip is about using Control F to find something in a document. You know when you swear you saw something in a sheet or in a Google Doc or in a PDF and you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you just can't find it? Well, try this tip. Control F, type in what you thought you saw or what you are wondering if it's in the document, and you'll see it appear up here in the right hand corner. And then if you'll see there's 1 out of 10 findings for Schoology. So I'm just going to scroll until I get to the one that I was looking for. Oh, yep, that's the one, Schoology Grading 101. That's a tech tip that is going to take you far.
All right. Thank you guys for that tech tip. I'm just going to let you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and go through, and really, again, appreciate you being here. We'll start right here.
I'm Taryn Davis. I teach 10th grade world history here at Goose Creek.
Tamara Kirstein. I teach marine science and biology, both the honors and CP levels.
Rochelle Domain. I am a CTE teacher here at Goose Creek High School, and this semester I am teaching fundamentals of computing.
And Jeremy Osborne. I'm an innovative learning coordinator and one of the people that was helping to put this whole tech cohort together.
Absolutely. The lead instructor, of course, did a great job.
Okay. Sure.
Did a great job.
Yes.
So really just want to get started, when you're talking about like this course, and what was probably your biggest takeaway that you got from it that you're going to be able to implement and help our students here at Berkeley County?
Well, for me, it was interesting to be able to see not only like what the district and stuff has to offer, but actually get to spend time with all the different types of technology. A lot of times in professional development, like in our conferences in February, it's, you go to like for an hour, but this was, every week, and we were there for a good amount of time. So it really helped us kind of dive in and explore and talk to other educators in similar contents about how they use things. And so that was the biggest thing for me, was just being able to get to explore, use it. And it wasn't just like, hey, you get 30 minutes with it and then that's it. So that was important for me to be able to get to explore whatever, all the technology that the district is offering.
Sure. Right. To piggyback on that, I had no idea what all the district had until we got into there. And then I'm like, I'm over my head. But I wasn't, because there were a lot of people in the course. And the cool thing is we were from all over. Even though there's 3 Goose Creek High people here, we had different levels, we had different topic subject areas. So we were able to glean information from a lot of different people. And that really helped a lot. Plus the fact that we had that time to play. I mean, we got to play. That was fun. So we can have our kids play just like we did. So,
for me, I am already a teacher of technology. So I think my biggest takeaway here was the fact that we learned so much more than what CTE is. The new advanced technology, and also the importance of being able to implement it in the classroom. So even with my concept classes that I'm teaching, we no longer have to do just concepts. Now we have more hands-on to get the students engaged even more.
Sure. What was the one that you didn't know that we had that was kind of eye-opening that you were able to introduce to our kiddos?
The dog,
yeah,
which in all honesty, I think was terrifying. So absolutely terrifying, but
yes.
Also like really cool like just getting to hear, like how other schools had been using it. Like I didn't really know that we had that. And,
Sure.
After I got over my initial terror,
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty awesome.
It's usually what happens is we have that initial kind of, that initial shock and awe of the robotic dog, and then it's like, how can we implement it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I went to a school, and the teacher came up, and the kids came up with this great idea. They built an obstacle course, and they had to like design the obstacle course with who could create the obstacle course that the dog would get through the fastest. So they really had to use some critical thinking and some creativity to come up with a way and collaborate with each other to figure out a way that they could do it, and then go back and analyze, like, well, why did this one be faster? It was really, really fun activity that the kids really enjoyed. So
yeah, one of the things that we've looked at with moving forward with future versions of this cohort is I heard you talking about like getting the chance to get hands-on and playing with some of those things, and having the time to do that. And that's one of the things that we really want to look forward to doing more of, having more time, having more experiences with those different materials. One of the things that I really wish we could have done more is get you guys onto the truck and see the truck in action, and even bringing the truck to your classrooms after we go through and make those projects and do all of that work. It would be really nice to be able to bring that out and bring that experience to your kids as part of the cohort, not just you guys doing all of that stuff, but them actually getting to be a part of it as well.
Cool. Was there something you were able to implement already this year that you were excited about?
I did the one of our sessions was about podcasting and all that kind of different ways to do that and tools and things like that. And I actually implemented that in a lesson. We were learning about the Atlantic revolutions, and, it could be a lot. It can kind of be boring for the kids. And so I was like, well, I'll just try the podcast and see. And so the students could either do like the heroes versus villains, and a lot of them went the villain route, but they were taking the perspective of like the monarch that the people like were rebelling against. And one of my groups got so into it that he actually brought his own like recording equipment to the school, and like headphones, microphones, everything. And to me, that was really awesome to see them getting so into it. And they were so entertaining. I was laughing so hard, but they also like were learning and demonstrating their learning like at the same time while they were having fun with it. And so that's going to be one of my go-tos, like moving forward.
Yeah. I got lucky. Bonnie Knighton, who's doesn't have a planning right now, but she would be in here if she did have a planning right now. We both teach biology, and she had a lesson that we did with genetics, and the kids were able to go into a CAD program at Tinkercad. And I wasn't that familiar with Tinkercad, having never worked it before. That was the cool thing to me, is that we've got these experts here that will come to the school and actually like seriously like teach your class how to use this program. Right. And some of the students that stuck out are not the typical students that would stick out. A lot of my ELL kids did a great job once they got in there and got to play with the program. And we've got some little cooties that they made through their genetics. So these are just two of them that we were able to shrink down, and actually they'll get to take them home. But it made it more real for them. Sure. And to have a takeaway, something you can take away. The kids love that. Yeah, they created it. That's create. Come on.
I have to talk about the podcast as well. That was one of my favorites, and my students absolutely loved it. There were a few that they were not on board at the beginning. Sure. Oh no, we got to record ourselves. I don't want to be on video. Right. But I'm like, hey guys, you don't have to do video. You can also do audio. Yep. Right. And the good thing about it is they had the equipment. Yep. All they needed was the Chromebook. Yep. And audio, and they were able to record it. We used Canva. That was great. They loved the covers that they were able to use. They had a ball. Good. They did.
Yeah, we found that really students most of them are going to get into some form of podcasting. They really enjoy being able to express themselves that way. And I think you get a lot better, deeper kind of understanding of what they really know by them talking about it versus other ways to look at it. So.
And can I also, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Can I also say, I remember when we were in the session, I asked the question, well, how do you eliminate all of the additional noise and the sounds? How do the students do it in the classroom? And the instructor said, oh, they were in the hallway, they were in the stairway. So that's what we did. Yep. I gave them the opportunity to do it at home, but a lot of them were in the hallway. They were outside. They did it, and they had fun.
Good.
What I was going to kind of jumping on that with the podcast. I mean, podcast, it's not anything new. It's not, but I think it was through this cohort. And here are some ways that you can do it. Here's some maybe technology you didn't think about that you could use to record it. And then, we had our like tasks or assignments that we had to do. And then, I mean, it in a way, I don't want to say forced you, but like as, your participation in this was trying out one of those things. And, just by doing that, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like this, I'm definitely going to keep doing this. But it wasn't until really I was, had to sit down and, play with it and plan a lesson around it. And then I actually was like, well, I'm going to implement it. And then that's when it really just kind of hit home. And just, I'm like, it's going to be a go-to, like I said, from now on.
Good.
So
Yeah, one of the neat things is for us in our role to give you guys that knowledge of, things like podcasting seems really popular, especially in a high school setting. But any of those tools to give you guys the exposure to it, I'm not going to begin to say that we're experts in any of that stuff, but you guys are the experts in your content areas. So we can't come in and, come up with lessons for you. So that was a big piece of that, was being able to see how we could take those tools and resources that we have on our side and be able to implement those in classrooms, using the different, standards and things that you guys are teaching. So I think that was really neat to see.
Was there something else from the course that you're waiting to next year that you have an idea of what you're going to be able to implement into something next year?
I know I'm going to be doing some stuff with DNA and with DNA technology and plasmid insertion. I know that's probably Greek to anybody that's not in science, but
I don't get the curriculum stuff. Just tell me
so
what
funny
tools
because
you need.
like they'll come to us and like we'll start glazing over, and then I'll talk biology and they start glazing over, so it's great. But I know that there's 3D printing involved that's going to happen. Laser cutting can happen with that. There's a lot of things that we can do. Another big takeaway for me, I don't know if we can hit this, but I think the first day of the class where we talked about students as curators, that was huge for me because up till then it was always like, I need to get everything together for the standards and I need to have it here for the students. And to change your mindset to make them the curators and how they can do it. I remember going to you and say, how can I do it? And you showed me one way you did it. And I just amended it for science. And it was like, wow, awesome. It made it like, okay, this is awesome.
Once you give up that initial control, I think is kind of, huge. We're so used to like, I'm going to give them the resources. I'm going to show them what they need. I'm going to say it's in Google Classroom or you're going to use this or whatever. And some kids appreciate that structure and then other kids don't want that. They want to just kind of be able to do that. So that was
big. And that was our first class. And that was like,
And another class was, you gave us a lesson plan and you said, revise it. How would you revise your lesson plan and implement the new technology? I will definitely go back and revise several of my lesson plans. As a result, I'm going to give the students more choices.
Good.
As you stated, I'm not going to be just set as far as this is what you have to do. Everybody's got to do a report. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the option to build your assignment any way you want and present it. And that's one of the things that we learned. Well, something else I'd like to continue on with, problem solving.
Yeah.
I realized that through STEM projects, I can take a STEM project, which we're currently working on now, and we're using or implementing problem solving.
Sure.
And that's what we learned in the class.
Yeah, and that's where those, BCSD work and life skills really come in, is being able to implement, this technology which allows the students to work on those work and life skills, to be adaptable and to persevere and think critically and have problem solving. So there's a lot of elements of that which we really like. So.
Right. And I think when you make it fun for them like that, one of the things I noticed with my students is it built their tenacity. A lot of the students used to give up quickly. I'm not going to stick with it. But when they're doing something like that, they're like, I'm going to get this right. I'm going to do this until I get it right. And they did. And those are important life skills. And they also learn by, look, I'm not always expert in this. How are you going to find the answer? Let's work on a plan. And those are life skills they're going to take with them. They're important,
Yeah, I think that's like the one thing with the, problem solving and the whole design process in general was the being willing, like, it's okay if you fail, but like, how do we go back and how can you fix it? What changes need to be made so that it's not just like, oh, it didn't work, I'm just going to give up now.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, it didn't work, but like, why? Like, what are some things that we can do to, fix it, to tweak it, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
And then let's try it again. And so I think that our kids do, if this is hard, I don't want to do it. That's kind of just like forcing them to like keep persevering and not giving up. And that's obviously, so important within the classroom and outside of the classroom too.
Right. I mean, instead of you have to do it this way, this is the only way you have to do it, and that's it. No, that's
in.
not. You're not boxed in. The box is. The box is open now.
Yeah.
Like, show me.
And I think that was kind of
huge.
scary for us as teachers at the beginning. Was just kind of like
we want the structure.
Yeah,
the structure.
because I remember
that's how we were taught.
We were, we've all heard like, oh, let the kid, more student choice, more student this and that. And then, Jeremy, when you were like, I mean, just kind of do like whatever. We all were just like, no, what do you mean? Just do whatever.
Oh, we're
like,
texting on the phone going, what do you think he meant? I don't know. What do you think he meant?
Well, it's a paradigm shift,
It is huge.
really giving your kids a chance to do an assignment. Typically it's, you got it right, you got it wrong, we're moving on to the next thing. We've got this to cover, we've got this to cover. Now we're giving them a chance to go back. Oh, you didn't get that right, or you did get it right. How can you improve it? Giving them the opportunity to go back, reflect on things. Like we always talk about reflection and, going back to stuff, but are we really giving the kids the opportunity to do that through these projects and using different technology tools? We do give them the opportunity to go back. Tinkercad is a perfect example. That program can be so frustrating to move little pieces. You think you're moving it in one direction, and next thing you know, it's off in space somewhere.
It's floating way up, and it's not going to get printed.
Right, and it can get very frustrating. And I've had kids that just dropped it and said, "I'm not doing this anymore." And that's that perseverance, being able to go back to it and say, "Okay, I'm going to get this. I'm going to make it work." And you end up with really neat projects that the kids finish with. So.
Reminds me of like the TED Talk, the Super Mario Brothers. I don't know if you've seen that, the idea of gamification and education. Like if you're learning as you're, going through a video game and you're failing at something, I'm not going to do that. And that's basically what you can do in your class as well. Kind of create a situation where failing is okay, but I can learn from that failure, and then I can then revamp it and make it better next time I come through it. So, and I will put a link to that TED Talk in our show notes as well. So.
Yeah, I find myself saying that weekly. It's okay to fail.
Sure.
It really is, because we're going to try it again. We're going to revise it. We're going to go back and reflect and look at what we did that we wrong, possibly, that something that we could make it better, something we could do to make it better. So I find myself saying that constantly. It's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the best question after everything is, what can we do to make it better?
Yeah.
If you're starting to do that, you're reflecting, and they're self-reflecting, and that's so.
Yeah.
And a lot of team collaboration.
Yes.
Right.
They work together, because it's like you're going to either make it as a team or you're going to fail as a team. It's not one person on the team. So, they go back and revise.
They're getting ready to go to lunch. So,
not to shift gears, but I think one of the things that is important in this whole cohort is continuing this for the future. How do we continue to make this better? We always want them to improve upon what we're doing, and bringing in more teachers. We had 20 plus teachers this time. We'd like to get new teachers in. So one of the roles that you guys have is to recruit new teachers. We didn't tell you that, but we're gonna reach out and ask you guys. Are there people that we should target to recruit? So how do we get the word out to other teachers about this cohort that we have going on here?
And also how you're going to share what you've learned to the teachers in your building. If, talk about some of the opportunities you had for that as well.
Well, I think it was helpful that there were 6 of us, I think, from our school all together. And we didn't know that when we were signing up. We all just walked in on that day in February and we were like, oh, you're doing this? Okay. So that was really nice. Just being able to have somebody in your building that you could go to and talk to. So one thing, I would encourage, maybe get a couple of people from your building to do this. That way, when you have questions and you want to, bounce ideas off of somebody, you have someone in your own building that you can talk to. I know that there are myself and the 2 other people were in the same department. So just conversations in the hallway, our other department members knew what we were doing. We were sharing some of the things that we got to do. So I think just like casual conversations,
Yes.
This podcast in general, I know that our principal will want to share it out with like our department or our school, because so many of us were involved in it and we learned so much from it. I think it's just kind of trying to get the word out there, and the fact that we're high school teachers. I know a lot of times we're like, oh, that's elementary.
Right.
Like, cool, you can play a keyboard with a banana, but like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that in
You can't
social
do that,
studies?
actually.
Yeah, they love it.
But the fact that we had middle school teachers and elementary
Yes.
and all content areas, those lessons that we created at the end, like even if it's just like a showcase of, here's kind of some things that we did, or, I mean, it really is just trying to, I think people need visuals. So
Right.
Oh, yeah.
they've got the podcast. That's great. But then like, hey, check out these cool ideas that teachers came up with in this cohort. I mean, that might.
Yeah, I think going in with a partner too, because we could ping. Bonnie and I were pinging off each other. I pinged off. We were pinging. I mean, it was. Remember, you came to my room one day and we were.
When I saw yours, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to take it up.
No. But I mean, it's like the wisdom of crowds. That book.
Sure.
There's more. With more people, you can get more ideas. And I didn't think about going in from that way. Okay. Really opens things up.
Yeah.
We had a department meeting this morning, CTE, and I did broadcast this class.
Good.
Got to tell you that I did. I broadcast this class, and I told the CTE department, you guys, if it's offered again, you need to take this class.
Right.
We're already technology, so we're already hands-on, but there is so much more everybody that department could learn, take back to the classroom, and help the students. So yeah, starting with our
Yeah,
department.
well, thank you
Department
for
meetings.
promoting, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be reaching out in the future to continue that recruitment and get more teachers involved.
Yes.
And really, this is something that everyone can benefit from. So we want to try and get as many people involved in it as well, and build that leadership capacity in you guys to be the leaders. You're the first ones.
Yeah.
So
It was very teacher friendly. I mean, because here's the thing:
Don't
we
say
all end school at a different time. Some of us were trying to rush to get there,
Yes.
but you guys were great. Like, okay, if you're not going to get there
Yes.
until this time, look at this ahead of time. Come in. We all come in. You sit down and you can kind of relax.
Yes.
Gave us time to play. Gave us time to do things without that high
Yes.
pressure
Yes.
environment, which
Yeah.
we don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice.
It was good. Also, the pace of the program, or the pace of the class. You understood that we're already working teachers. We're 8 to 4, and then rushing to a class. But even with the homework assignment, we were still able to apply it to our lessons,
right.
and then use it as well. So the pace. I love the pace. The pace was actually great. Taking ownership and being able to work with
And
it.
then the different experts among yourselves too.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
that
I can
was
work
cool,
with this
too.
person here. I can work with this. It was really great.
All right. Sounds good. So we really appreciate you guys being here.
Sure.
Those of you watching and listening at home, you can check out the show notes. You can find the show note description inside of inside the window. Find the link inside the description window. You can watch on YouTube. You can search any of your podcasting platforms to find the Innovation Squadcast, and you can find all that information right there. Or just email your ILC, and we can send you the show notes and information like that. And also be reminded that for every 2 podcasts you listen to, you get an hour of renewal credit if you sign up through Unified Talent for the Innovation Squadcast PB. And then you just have to fill out a Google form talking about what you learned from the 2 episodes, and you get an hour of renewal credit. So there's a lot of options out there. So we appreciate everybody. Appreciate you guys being here, being a part of the tech cohort.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks for-
And we appreciate everybody at home listening, and at school listening and watching, and keep watching the podcast. And if you ever want to be on the podcast, reach out to us. We definitely need ideas, and we can come to your school and we can set up our stuff and make it as good as we possibly can. So again, thank you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good times.